As we get closer to opening day, the final spot on the Seattle Mariners roster seems like it's all up in the air. We've got a handful of guys still competing for that final spot, and with the injury bug kind of hitting a couple guys here and there, that list is getting shorter and shorter every single day. We talked about Evan White, we've talked about Tommy La Stella, but someone we really haven't touched on a whole lot here at Mariner Mojo is Cooper Hummel. And now with Evan White not really performing so well at the plate, Tommy La Stella just now making his spring training debut earlier last week because he was on the injured list, Cooper Hummel has had a bit more opportunity to shine this spring training. And through 17 at-bats, you know, it's a bit small, but I mean, even in 21 at-bats, Jared Kelenic is showing that he is the next Barry Bonds. In 17 of those at-bats, Cooper Hummel has 3 home runs and 5 hits with 5 RBIs, 1 stolen base, so he's hitting 294, 333 with an 1157 OPS, and he's been catching behind the plate primarily. Now, for the Seattle Mariners, we know that we've got Cal Raleigh, aka Big Dumper, Tom Murphy, and then our third catcher, it's kind of up in the air. In the past, we had Luis Torrens back there, and you know, that was an experience, but with him now being gone, we've got a void here for the third catcher. Brian O'Keefe is right there as well. However, Cooper Hummel seems like he can fit back there in a pinch. It's not going to be something that you really want, but it is something that can be done. Now, another interesting thing about Cooper Hummel is that he has experience playing the corner outfield positions, mainly left field. However, you know, you could slot him over there and right if you really wanted to. And even though he's only really played catcher this spring training, Scott Service has said that they want Hummel to start moving around the diamond. They wanted to start him out at catcher at the beginning of spring training, kind of let him feel it out, but now is the time for Cooper Hummel to start seeing some action in the field. Now, Cooper Hummel is not in the lineup today. However, he could make, you know, a substitution appearance, which likely seems where it might be for him if he is going to be in the outfield or maybe even a corner infield spot that they've thought about trialing him at either third or first base. They tried Sam Haggerty over at third earlier this spring training, so anything is possible for the Seattle Mariners. If Hummel can figure out a way to stick at a corner infield spot, even the outfield spot obviously gives him a lot more positional flexibility and a lot more value. That kind of takes away from Evan White and Tommy La Stella's spot on this roster. You've got Tom Murphy as the backup catcher. You've got Dylan Moore and Sam Haggerty as the utility guys, the super utility guys that can play all over the diamond. Of course, Dylan Moore still rehabbing his injury. He did take some BP the other day from Andres Munoz. I don't know if that's the first guy I want to see coming off of a rehab little stint there, is Andres Munoz throwing 102 at me. But again, you know, Dylan Moore, he's a gamer. He just signed that 3-year contract extension, so he's got to earn his money somehow, right? But there's still questions of whether or not Dylan Moore is going to be ready for opening day. So that leaves one, probably 2 roster spots available for the Seattle Mariners on their opening day roster for position players. Right now, it's looking like Cooper Hummel could steal one of these spots. Taylor Trammell was another guy that we had on a short list of players to make this roster. However, a hand injury has set him back a bit. Cade Marlowe, another guy that was showing out during spring training so far, did have an oblique strain come up for him this past week, and he was optioned to AAA Tacoma today, so he will not be making the opening day roster. Other guys still on that short list for the roster spot obviously include Colin Moran and Mike Ford. More people that can play these corner infield spots and provide some power at DH when we need them to. However, I still would favor Cooper Hummel over those guys. And if you guys are wondering who Cooper Hummel is, where did this guy come from? Well, we traded for him this offseason, and we had to trade Kyle Lewis to get him. Kyle Lewis, former AL Rookie of the Year, obviously has had some problems with his knees and his health in Seattle. A new scenery, change of pace for him might do him well. We wish him well in Arizona, but that is how we acquired Cooper Hummel. Now, Cooper Hummel is honestly the perfect Seattle Mariner. He grew up in Portland, Oregon, so he's been a Seattle Mariner fan for the longest time. There was an interview for him the other day in yesterday's game where he's just gushing over the 2001 Mariners team. So Cooper Hummel seems like a great fit on this roster. And if he can continue to hit in spring training like he has been, he's got 3 home runs, 2 from the right side, 1 from the left. He's got that switching ability. His percentiles last year, although there's only 3 of them because he didn't really have a whole lot of playing time in Arizona last year, they're red, which is a good thing on Baseball Savant. He's got 70-ish grade max exit velocity. He's got great sprint speed and great arm strength, which could play well in the outfield and maybe even at third base if he can, you know, find some footing over there. However, I will say the outfield and catching likely are his main 2 spots, but if he can work on a corner infield spot to potentially give Eugenio Suarez or Ty France a day off, that adds so much more value to Cooper Hummel as a player for the Seattle Mariners. With guys like Evan White and Tommy La Stella still being question marks, mainly because we haven't really seen La Stella in action a whole lot. I haven't loved what I've seen out of Colin Moran. Yeah, Mike Ford, of course, he can, you know, play first base, but it's not really someone that you want there. And the Mariners showed that last year by not keeping him around when we had him in 2022. So what do you guys make of Cooper Hummel's spring so far? Is it something that we should really be excited about? And will he have a bigger impact on this 2023 Mariners team than we could have ever imagined? Another player that seems like he's lining up to have a huge impact on the 2023 Seattle Mariners is Jared Kelenic. Check out this video on the screen that Colton did a while back on his new stance and his new outlook on the game. Thank you guys for watching this one, and go Mariners.